What's up, you guys? It's your boy Ryan with Artisan Kennels. Today we are going to cover growing a stud's name. So if you have a puppy and you want it to be one of the top studs or do really good in the show ring and you're trying to really make a name for this dog, there's a lot of different things that come into play. So in this video, I'm going to cover those things, you guys. I've been breeding for a long time now. I have over 10 years under my belt. And I actually am a handler myself, so I'm a breeder, I'm a show handler. I do handling at the confirmation shows, mainly ABKC and even fun shows for myself and other people, okay? So I have a lot of experience when it comes to stud dogs, and we're gonna cover a lot in this video. So if there's anything that I didn't cover in the video that you wanna mention or add, go ahead and do that in the comments below, and make sure you guys subscribe, you guys. I'm gonna be making a bunch of really good videos like this one, so stay tuned. Who are you gonna purchase this puppy from, okay? That's very important, okay? If myself, when I'm going to purchase a puppy, I'm looking at a whole bunch of different things, and one of the biggest things is, who am I purchasing this puppy from? Are they a really good reputable breeder? Can I spend time with them on the phone? How does this person come off? Is it somebody that people in the industry are looking up to and also doing business with? Or are they kind of like a no-name, nobody's ever heard of them before, you know, which is also cool. But if you want to have the best chances, I would say go to a person or a breeder that has a reputable name, that has reputable dogs that are very well-known dogs, okay? Because they're well-known dogs for a reason, and they're a well-known kennel for a reason, because they've been conducting and coordinating and making the right decisions, breeding their dogs. So those are the type of people or breeders that you want to buy a puppy from, okay? All right, you guys, the pedigree. The pedigree is very important, okay? The pedigree is a family tree of the dogs. You want to look at the mom and the dad's side, the dam and the sire's side, right, of the puppy that you're looking at purchasing, okay? If a breeder has a breeding lined up and it's something that you're interested in, ask them to see the pedigree or the family tree. It's always nice to see pictures of these dogs. You can also look them up on Pitpedia, but do your research, okay? See what these dogs are producing. There's a lot that's involved in pedigree, okay? Color, structure, how were these dogs created? What are they throwing? There's a lot of research to be done on the pedigree, so make sure you understand it. Make sure you understand this family tree, and make sure that this is the type of pedigree that you're trying to involve yourself in, because you're gonna be implementing this into your program. That this is gonna be a stud, you gotta make sure that this puppy has a great pedigree. You wanna be breeding clean dogs. You don't wanna be breeding dogs with health problems or structural problems, or stuff that's gonna affect their program later down the road. So you can ask the breeder, hey, can I see the health test, the embark for the mom, and the sire, and then have they been OFA, hips and elbow tested, or pen hip? It's a plus when these dogs are health tested, and if they pass OFA and they have good hips and elbows, all that is icing on the cake, okay? And then when you have your puppy, the first thing that you want to do is get an embark test, okay? That's the genetic testing, okay? Then when the puppy gets a little bit older, you can go ahead and do a pre-OFA hips and elbows. If your puppy passes the pre-OFA hips and elbows, you're in luck, because I would say 90% of the time, if it passes the pre-OFA hips and elbows, it's gonna be finalized, and it's gonna be pretty much the same results, great results, good results, or whatever you wanna call it, right? So it's important to health test your puppy for the genetics and the structure. Naming your dog, okay? This is actually pretty important. When I think about it, I mean, if you come up with a super corny name for a dog, that might discourage people, right? They're trying to use a dog that has a big name, that doesn't have a super goofy name, and you definitely want to be careful about naming your dog, right? So just think about if you would have named your dog P. Diddy, for example, okay? That dog's name is completely ruined now. You could never, nobody I know would ever use that dog again. Do you see what I'm saying? So try to come up with something very unique that not everybody has, right? So for example, Hennessy. I could think of probably 50 dogs named Hennessy right now. You know what I mean? There's tons of Hennessy's out there. You got to try to come up with something unique. I came up with Captain America for my stud. And I came up with that name. I was almost thinking about just Captain or Captain Hook or Captain this, and then I was like, oh, Captain America, you know, because I mean, he's a stud that's going to be in America. And I'm not even big into Marvel. I've not even watched that many Marvel movies. But I came up with that name because I just know nobody else had it, and it's unique, and it really pops and stands out, right? So you want something that pops and stands out, that's not too corny, that's like a dope name that, you know, nobody else has. And yeah, so there's some suggestions on naming your upcoming stud. As you've received your puppy, and now is the fun part, training and raising it and everything. We're gonna just talk about the topic of feeding your puppy and the supplements that you're gonna be giving your puppy, okay? Do your research, talk to people, talk to the breeder, the person that you got this puppy from, see what kind of food they're on. Maybe there's a better food, okay? So really just do your research on the food and on the supplements that you're giving your puppy, okay? You wanna make sure that it has a complete diet. For myself, I feed half kibble, and then I do a mix, and I do a mixture of meat. So ground beef, ground turkey, and then I do fruits and vegetables and rice, and I cook this stuff in a pressure cooker. So I do half kibble and half that, and then I also add the salmon oil and some other supplements. And if you want to see more information on that, I'm going to go ahead and make a video on the supplements and the food. And I also have more videos on the page already on, you know, steps on how to make the food. And I make it in pressure cookers, and I cook the meat on a stove top, but that's very important. You want to make sure your stud is nice and healthy, and you're giving it the best chance to have to bring it to its full potential, okay? Something that's very important with a stud is not overfeeding. So a breeding dog, right, a working dog, if you will, you're not going to want to overfeed this dog, because to keep the semen quality really good and to keep this dog in business for, you know, years later down the road, and even when it's not breeding anymore, you want to make sure this dog is healthy, right? So if you're overfeeding your dog because you want it to be the biggest bully or whatnot, it's really, really not a good idea, okay? Make sure you're feeding your dog enough, but don't overfeed the dog to where it's unhealthy and people can notice that, like, hey, this guy's overdoing it. He's feeding his dog too much. You know, that dog looks like it has some extra weight on it. It's not like bad, but at the same time it is, because your dog's not healthy. And in the long run, the longevity of the dog, it's not the best idea to overfeed your dog, okay? So that's very important. Exercise is very, very important for a healthy, active stud, okay? So make sure that your dog is getting exercise, daily walks. All those famous studs, a lot of the famous studs out there, you know, they get taken on walks, they go on hikes, they get their exercise. They're not just laid up sitting there in a cage all day, every day. I mean, maybe some are, but it's just not the best for your dog, right? You want your dog to be happy, mentally, physically, and all that. So giving your dog exercise is going to put the dog in a better situation, and your dog's going to look better and feel better, and you're going to get better results. Socializing and training your dog is probably one of the most important subjects to cover, okay? It is so important that your dog has great temperament and that your dog is very well trained and obeys and respects you. So go ahead and start this training process as early as you get the puppy, you guys. From potty training to socializing with people and family and friends. If your dog doesn't have all its shots, that's fine. You can start training your dog as early as 5 weeks. Most people get their puppy from 8 to 10 weeks, okay? So go ahead and start training your pup right when you get your puppy, right? Go out of your way to ask people, hey, can you pet my puppy? And this and that, especially in public, right? You want to start off in the house, okay? Get all your training when the dog's used to in the house, and start getting it outside of the house in different environments. Don't take it to a carnival and train it inside of the carnival where there's a million people walking around and other animals and stuff at first, right? You're gonna wanna go ahead and start off at a park or just in the backyard where there's nobody, just birds and airplanes flying around, and just, you know, not as much distraction, and ease your way out to more distraction as you go, okay? That's very, very important. Make sure that your puppy or your dog is very, very good with kids. It's okay with people coming up to it and petting it. because, you know, one of the biggest things in growing a stud is taking your dog to the shows, right? ABKC shows. You see all these trophies and ribbons and everything. Those are from the shows, okay? So in growing a stud, right, you want to be able to show people that your dog has great conformation, great structure, great temperament, okay? That's one of the most important things in growing a stud, is just making sure that you take the time to train this dog, okay? Whether you're going to be showing your dog yourself in the show ring, or if you're going to be having somebody else show it, it doesn't matter, man. You want to make sure that your dog has the best temperament, so make sure you put it in a bunch of different scenarios. You know, praise your dog for that good behavior, reward your dog, and stay consistent on training, okay? Even after your dog knows everything, my dog's 3 years old and I'm consistently training him still to this day, okay? So stay consistent on the training and build that dog's temperament to where it is just the sweetest, most amazing dog, and it's going to be in a better situation, okay? You don't want aggression. You don't want your dog fighting with other dogs at the dog shows, okay? You don't want your dog snapping on a judge, okay? So like I said, take the time to train your dog. If you can't do that, good luck on growing a stud. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. It's going to have problems at the shows, and it's going to have problems with other dogs. You're going to have problems in your yard, you know. Do the best you can to take the time to train your dog and socialize. Alrighty, so stay consistent on the content, okay? So making videos, pictures, and all that good stuff. Only post the cleanest stuff of your dog. If there's sloppy stuff for your dog, you're not gonna really wanna post that, okay? You wanna show people the first impression. First impressions are everything. So you want the first impression to be the best impression. And whenever somebody thinks about that dog, they're going to remember that day they laid the eyes on that dog and they're like, hey, you know, that's an amazing dog right there. You want to just show people the best of the best content, the best angles, the best of everything. And, you know, that way when you go to the show and they see this dog in person, they're going to know what they're looking for, you know. Don't edit your photos. Don't try to manipulate the way your dog looks in any way. Okay, people that get caught doing that, they end up with bad names, you know what I mean? You can adjust the coloring and pictures and stuff like that and crop and everything, but if you're gonna try to manipulate the dog's muscles and try to make this dog look bigger and everything, that's just not the way to do it, because you're gonna take this dog to the show and then they're gonna be like, hey, that dog doesn't look like the dog that you're posting, and not everything's gonna match up and not everything's consistent. People are looking for consistency here, okay, with this content, okay? So stay consistent with the content to grow your followers, okay? People are gonna fall in love with your dogs and in love with your program. You're gonna get better chances of, you know, getting good, you know, customers, whether they're a pet home or an upcoming breeder. You just wanna make sure that you have good, positive content that you're putting out there, you know, with this upcoming stud that you're growing, all right? Okay, you guys, this is another really big one. Breeding with nice females, okay? You got to tell yourself, you have to have a picture in your head, a standard in your head of the females that you want your male dog to breed to, okay? You can't just let anybody use your dog, right? They might have like a possum, for example, and, you know, that's not going to work because you breed that dog to this, you know, not good looking dog, or this dog that has, you know, super bad anger issues or doesn't look right and everything, right? And then people buy those puppies, and then those puppies end up going to people that want to show a dog, right? And they end up breeding these dogs, taking these dogs to a dog show and showing everybody, and they're like, hey, I got this puppy from Artisan Kennels, and people are looking at that dog like, really? I mean, that's gonna ruin my reputation, you know. So I'm not gonna breed my boy Captain with, you know, incorrect females. I mean, there's no perfect dog, but like I said, you have to set a standard, you know, for yourself, for your dog, because it's gonna ruin your reputation if you're breeding your dog to dogs that do not look good, you know. So take a look at the females. Do your research on people that are approaching you saying, hey, I have this female. The first thing I say is, hey, my name's Ryan, nice to meet you. What's your name? Talk to these people, get to know them, get to know their dog. Where did that dog come from? Get to know that female's pedigree, okay? Take a look at the different angles on that dog. Ask them for videos, pictures at different angles. You want to see the dog having, straight pasterns. If it has a little bit of east-west, but your male has really, really tight pasterns, then your male can clean that up, right? If your male has a very, very straight back and this female has, a little bit of a high rear, your male could probably help correct that in terms of, the puppies that come off of them breeding together, right? So that's what you're doing. You're really trying to look at the flaws. And when you're a breeder, you really want to have an eye for a dog. And having an eye for a dog is being able to identify flaws within your dogs or dogs that you're trying to breed to, right? So you're going to want to identify the flaws first and say, hey, are these two dogs going to make up for each other's flaws so we can have dope, correct looking puppies? Because we want to breed closest to the breed standard as possible, right? And that's why people go to the dog shows, and that's what all these ribbons are for, because my dog Captain, my stud, he's a very, very correct dog, right? So you want to do the best you can in terms of building your program and breeding with this stud in terms of making sure that you're producing show quality, correct dogs. Whether you're trying to breed smaller dogs or bigger dogs, you want to stick as close to the breed standard as possible in terms of, the structure, the good structure, great conformation, and that's very, very important, okay? So do your research on the female. There's some people that I have had to turn down, and, I really don't feel bad about it because it's like, I bought a female before, and instead of just breeding the female because the female didn't turn out right, it was majorly flawed. And instead of me just trying to make my money back off of that female, I paid $25K for a female and had to just give it away because it ended up with bad hips. I couldn't get my money back. The breeder gave me a chance to give it back at a young age. I never did. Said, you're going to be sorry if you bring it back. So I listened to him and ended up keeping, the puppy, and didn't turn out right. And I didn't breed that dog because I didn't want to ruin my reputation. So, when, like I said again, you guys, when people are approaching you, or if you're looking at breeding your stud to other females or females within your program, make sure you're doing the math. Make sure that they're making up for each other's flaws, so that way you end up with better puppies, better productions. Your name's gonna grow, okay? You're gonna have a better name because you're not producing crappy quality dogs. You're not just breeding this dog and this dog because they both look cool and stuff, or look big, or this and that. You're actually taking your time to identify the flaws within both of the dogs, okay? And seeing if they're gonna end up, breeding quality, show quality, healthy puppies. Staying away from drama and doing business with the wrong people. One of the biggest no-nos ever in the breeding industry, okay? If you do business with the wrong person, it could ruin your name. It really, really can, depending on the extent, okay? So look at these people's track records, you know what I mean? You want to make sure that you're not breeding your dog with another kennel that kennel is starting shit with other people all the time, or super judgy and just has a bad name. You don't want to breed your dog with other people. You don't want to do business with other people with your stud that have bad names, bad reputations. You are what you eat, okay? You are who you hang out with. You know what I mean? People are gonna see that. It doesn't matter if you're not the same person. They're gonna be like, hey man, this guy's doing business with so-and-so. I don't fuck with that. You know what I mean? Because maybe so-and-so fucked them over. So like I said, just make sure that you don't do business with somebody that's super snaky or shady. And, do business with good people that have good reputations, that have good names, okay? Those are the type of people that you want to do business with in terms of utilizing your stud and putting your stud out there into other people's programs. Guys, pricing and putbacks, we'll go ahead and cover pricing right now. For me, and everything that I'm explaining in this videos, you guys, is my honest input. This is the way that I do things. Some people might do things different, so maybe just take little pieces of what I'm saying and utilize it, or all of it. It's up to you. You know what I mean? But in terms of like pricing, what I do is I look at the market. I look at the top breeders, the top studs in the industry, and I make sure that my pricing is definitely not higher than them. because if it is, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. If you want to get consistent stud credits and really, really get, the most out of your dog in terms of financial, you're going to want to make sure that you put your dog at a great, affordable price, especially at first. I'll start a stud off at 2K or 3K, for the first, 2 or 3 breedings, then I'll raise it slowly but surely. But I'm also keeping an eye on the market because I want to stay competitive, okay? I don't want to just cut myself out, and a great way to cut yourself out is overpricing your stud. It doesn't matter how many studs you have or this and that and other. You just want to make sure that your stud is affordable, right? For people, and some people can't afford it, and that's fine. And some people, you would end up doing a putback or cash and a putback with, right? And so you got to be really, really careful on putbacks, you guys, because if you're doing a putback business with the wrong person, you might not end up getting your papers for the puppy. There's a big risk but yeah, make sure that you have your stud priced affordably, and don't shoot yourself in the foot either, but stay in the game, stay relevant. Keep that dog at an affordable price until it becomes a grand champion. You can have your dog at 10, 20K or whatever. I'm competing against other dogs right now, other kennels and everything. And a lot of these kennels are my friends. They're people that I do a lot of business with, or I'm planning on doing business with them in the future. But I just want to stay, close to the same pricing as them. So it's a fair playing field, but I'm not cutting myself out. All right, you guys, so that's that. Last but not least, do not talk down on other people's studs, okay? Don't talk down on other people, in general, unless you're like really trying to warn somebody about doing business with another kennel. Just keep their names out of your mouth, I've heard people talking to me about other kennels and other dogs, and it really makes you look weak. It makes you look like you're trying too hard, or you need to talk shit about somebody else to make yourself look better. And people catch on to that right away. So, stay in your lane, you guys. Do the best you can for yourself. Don't be judgy. Don't be so judgmental. Judge yourself. Look at yourself. Look at your marketing techniques. Look at your studs. Look at how you're spending your money on your program, or what you're feeding your dogs, and how you're taking care of your dogs, okay? There's a lot of people, a lot of messed up people that just want to talk a lot of shit. They'll do anything they can to try to ruin a stud dog's name or a kennel's name and stuff like that. And the best way to stay away from that drama is to stay away from drama. Stay away from drama people. Stay away from drama posts. Keep out of it. Stay in your lane. And that's just my honest suggestion, you guys. All right, you guys, there it is right there. That's how you can grow a stud's name, okay? That's how you can build a stud dog from puppy to adult. And, that's going to put yourself in the best situation. Like I said, you guys, I spent 20K on a dog before. It didn't come out right, so I had to give it away. So getting a stud and trying to build a stud dog, especially these days when the market's oversaturated, you really got to be doing it the right way, you guys. You got to really, really be focusing on that dog. You got to have the time for it. And that puppy might not turn out how you wanted it to, and you're going to have a hard time breeding it if it does. So like I said, it's a risk, but if you're doing everything on the list and, taking into consideration the things that I just went over, then you'll have a better chance, you guys. All right, well, good luck with that new puppy or that new stud, you guys. Go ahead and leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe. Again, this is Ryan with Artisan Kennels. We got a lot more content coming out, you guys. Have a great day. Stay up, work hard, and we'll see you soon. All right, you guys, just a little bit on my dog, Grand Champion Captain America, okay? I got him from a kennel when he was 9 weeks old, all right? I could already tell he was different. He was the first male from the dog, his sire, right? His sire was outside of the United States, okay? So I got one of the first puppies to be in the United States. So that was very special. That was something that is very unique off top with my dog, Grand Champion Captain America, okay? He was very, very exclusive. So you want to kind of look at that. Try to get something that's exclusive. Not everybody has, that would be like kind of good. And just make sure you get it off a dog that has a big name, or a dog that's upcoming and has like a big name. But I really, really focus focused in on stacking my dog, training it, getting it around everybody that I could. At the time when I got Captain, I was living in the middle of nowhere, so I'd drive 25 minutes down to the post office, down to the restaurants. I lived in a very small town at the time, but made sure I was socializing my dog, okay? I was staying consistent on training my dog literally every single day, unless I was super sick or on vacation. I would be training my dog, putting that work in. So that's kind of like, I would say why Grand Champion Captain America is a Grand Champion, because I really, really put work in, and I trusted and I believed in my dog. Okay, the whole time I believed in him, and we worked really, really good together. We have a great relationship, so it just all made sense and it all came together, you guys, and it can come together for you. You guys just got to make sure that you're making the right moves in terms of growing your stud's name.